She stormed in from nowhere, brandishing a sheet of paper as if it were a legal order itself. "You can't stay here. This cabin belongs to the HOA," she screamed, her voice bouncing across the silent lake. I placed my bag on the porch and looked at her, calm on the surface, heat burning underneath. "This is my land. I bought it, paid in full," I said slowly. She didn't pause for even a breath. She yanked out her phone and snapped into it. "Send officers right now. Arrest him before he breaks in." Only minutes later, a pickup truck pulled up and 4 uniformed men climbed out. For a split second, doubt slipped in. Had she really used her influence to bring actual law enforcement? They approached with stern expressions, but something fell off. One wouldn't meet my eyes. Another's badge caught the sun and looked flimsy, almost fake. Karen leaned in with a smug grin and whispered just loud enough, "Say goodbye to your little cabin." I tightened my fists, ready to hold my ground, because what she didn't know was that I'd seen these faces before, and they weren't real cops. The tallest one stepped forward, puffing his chest like he was in charge. "Sir, you're trespassing. You need to leave immediately," he said, though his voice faltered halfway through. Karen folded her arms, satisfaction dripping from her expression. "Take him away. He doesn't belong here," she snapped. I didn't move. Instead, I reached into my bag and pulled out a small leather folder, opening it slowly. The moment they saw it, their faces changed. My military ID, I said evenly, "Before you touch me, you might want to check who you're dealing with." The color drained from the fake officer's face, and for the first time, Karen's smile vanished. "That means nothing," she shouted, jabbing a finger at the cabin. "The HOA has full authority here." I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only she could hear. "That's interesting, because this cabin isn't even inside the HOA's jurisdiction, and I've got the deed to prove it." Her jaw clenched. Before she could reply, the youngest of fake officers muttered urgently to the others, "We should go. He's telling the truth." Karen spun on him, fury blazing. "No, stay right here. Do your job." But I had already pulled out my phone and started recording. Faces, fake badges, her threats. Every second became evidence. Just when I thought she might back down, she did the last thing I expected. Karen lunged forward and tore the phone from my hand. "No one's going to see this," she hissed, gripping it tightly. The fake cops froze, unsure what to do. I didn't chase her. I just smiled. "Karen, you've just made a very big mistake." She blinked, confused, until I raised my wrist and tapped the small black band strapped to it. "That wasn't my only camera," I said calmly. A faint red light blinked from the porch. My security system had recorded everything, from the moment she stepped onto my land to the second she stole my phone. "You think you're smart?" she snapped, waving my phone. "You have no idea how much power I have here. Everyone listens to me." She turned to fake officers and yelled, "Arrest him now, or you'll regret it." This time, they hesitated. One finally spoke, his voice low and nervous. "Ma'am, this is what we agreed to. He's recording everything." Her eyes darted as panic crept in. "Then take him down. Break the cameras. Do something." I stepped forward, calm and steady. "You can scream all you want, but every second you stay here, the real sheriff gets closer." For the first time, fear crossed her face. Then I heard it. The distant wail of a siren rolling down the dirt road toward the cabin, growing louder and sharper. Karen forced a smile, trying one last bluff. "Good. The real cops are here. Now you'll finally be dragged off my property." She shoved my phone into her pocket and stood tall, pretending she was still in control. But the fake officers shifted uneasily, one of them muttered under his breath. "We need to get out of here." Seconds later, the sheriff's truck rolled in, tires throwing up dust as it came to a stop. The door opened and Sheriff Daniel stepped out. I knew him well. We'd served together years ago overseas, and the look on his face told me he could already tell something wasn't right. "What's going on here?" he demanded, his eyes sweeping over the scene. Karen rushed forward, jabbing a finger in my direction. "Sheriff, arrest this man. He's trespassing and threatening us." But before she could spin her story any further, Daniel's gaze locked onto the badges. He walked straight past her, grabbed one of the men by the collar, and ripped the badge clean off his chest. The plastic snapped in his hand. Impersonating law enforcement, Daniels growled. That's a felony. Karen's confident mask shattered in an instant. Wait, no, they're with me. They're volunteers, she stammered. Daniels turned on her, his stare icy and unblinking. And you handing out fake HOA notices and calling in fake cops? Do you have any idea what you've done? She opened her mouth to argue, but no words came out. In that silence, I leaned in and whispered the words she'd never forget. You wanted me arrested on my own land. I paused. Now watch how real justice works. Karen stumbled back, her authority cracking like thin glass. This is all a misunderstanding, she blurted. I was just enforcing community rules. Daniels raised a hand, cutting her off. Community rules don't give you permission to break the law. He pointed at the fake officers. Drop your gear. Now. One by one, they tossed their radios and plastic badges onto the dirt, their tough act completely gone. Karen panicked. You can't do this to me. I'm the HOA president. Everyone listens to me. Daniels ignored her and turned to me instead. You all right, brother? He asked quietly. I nodded. Karen was pacing now, like a trapped animal. She took my phone, I said calmly. But my cameras caught everything. Daniels gave a slight grin, then fixed his eyes on her. Hand it over. For the first time, Karen's hands trembled as she slowly pulled my phone from her pocket. Her voice, the fake officers tried to slip away, but deputies arriving behind Daniels blocked them off. Karen screamed tore through the trees as the cuffs snapped shut. You'll regret this. All of you will regret this. But for the first time that day, the weight finally lifted from my chest. I didn't realize yet that she wasn't finished. Karen thrashed against cuffs, her voice sharp and venomous. You think this is over? My lawyer will bury you. The HOA will crush you, she spat, her face red with fury. Daniels didn't even flinch. He tightened his grip and steered her toward the patrol truck. But the way her eyes locked onto mine, burning, calculating, sent a cold shiver straight through me. She wasn't bluffing. Not at all. As deputies began loading the fake officers into another vehicle, one of them suddenly shouted, Karen, don't leave us like this. You promise we get paid. Daniels froze. Slowly, he turned back toward her. Paid for what? He asked, his voice flat, eyes icy. Karen snapped her mouth shut, but the damage was already done. The deputies exchanged looks as Daniels leaned in closer. Seems like you got a lot more explaining to do than we thought. I should have felt relief. Instead, a knot tightened in my gut. Karen didn't surrender control easily. As Daniels drove off with her, her words echoed in my head. You'll regret this. I turned back toward my cabin, ready to finally breathe, until I saw it. The lock on my door was destroyed. The wood around the frame splintered, clearly forced. My heart dropped. I pushed the door open slowly. The floor creaked under my boots. The air inside felt heavy, wrong, like someone had been there moments before. Then a shadow moved in the corner of the living room. Took you long enough to come back, a calm, chilling voice said. My pulse hammered as I stepped farther inside, the porch light barely cutting through the darkness. The figure leaned forward, and my stomach sank. It wasn't a stranger. It was a man I hadn't seen in years, someone I never expected to find waiting in my home. He smirked. Karen wasn't lying. You were always going to regret this. She works for me now. I clenched my jaw. You broke into my cabin. I said coldly, that was your first mistake. He chuckled. No, the first move was smarter than that. I had her distract you while I went through your things. My eyes snapped at the table. My documents, the deed, old military files spread out, studied. Before I could move, he raised a small flash drive, its surface glinting in the dim light. All your records. Copied. If you thought Karen was dangerous, wait until you see what I can do with this. Anger surged, but I forced myself to stay calm. You don't know who you're dealing with. He leaned back in my chair like he owned the place. Oh, I know exactly who you are. That's why I'm here. They want control. I want leverage. The cabin creaked in the silence. Then I stepped closer, lowering my voice. You shouldn't have said that out loud. His grin faltered, just a little. He hadn't noticed a faint red light blinking in the corner. Another camera, recording everything. When he finally saw it, panic flashed across his face. He jumped up, pointing the flash drive at me like a weapon. Turn that camera off. Now. His voice held fear, not authority. I didn't move. I folded my arms and let the silence stretch. You really thought you could break into my cabin, steal my files, and walk away clean? I said evenly. That camera isn't just recording, it's streaming. Smash it if you want. Everything you said is already saved. His jaw tightened. He glanced toward the door. Headlights suddenly cut through the windows. Tires crunched on gravel. Sheriff Daniels' voice boomed from the porch. You won't explain why I see a stranger inside your house. The man cursed, shoving the flash drive into his pocket. I stepped directly in front of him. Going somewhere? Daniels pushed the door open, hand resting on his holster. Looks like Karen wasn't working alone, he said. And I bet whatever's in your pocket isn't yours. The man froze as reality crashed down on him. Slowly, he pulled the flash drive out and dropped it onto the table. His shoulders slumped. Daniels cuffed him without hesitation. Breaking and entering. Theft of records. Conspiracy tied to HOA fraud, Daniels said. Congratulations. You just earned yourself a long stay behind bars. Outside, the night felt lighter. Karen's screams echoed faintly from the patrol truck down the road. The fake officers sat in silence, their scheme fully exposed. I stood on my porch, watching the lights fade away. This cabin, this land, was more than property. It was freedom, something I earned, something no bully or con artist could take. Daniels gave me a nod before driving off. As the road fell quiet again, I finally released a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. The lake shimmered under the moonlight, untouched. Mine,